I think they talk about him in this episode. But I want to talk about the trans because they get so mad, and they're like mad at like I thought we're just gonna watch it, and you'll know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So they're going to talk about.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
they're going to talk about I think his name is Josh Hawley, and I don't remember the woman's name, but they're gonna pull up the clip, and it's gonna take a really weird turn. Yeah, this poor woman. So I seen this clip before, and the woman handled it. I'm sorry, I don't remember her name, but she handled it really well, and it was clear that I think his name is Josh Hawley was just trying to be a because he thinks like trans people existing and being part of an abortion discussion is really funny and silly to him. But if you were a ignorant jackass, yeah, I suppose it would. But watch this take. You know, I always thought Tom and Christina are fairly progressive people. So, you know, relatively speaking to like maybe relatively speaking to like their new Texas friends, because they moved to Texas. I think Texas is rubbing off on them a little too much. We'll see.
This would get you fired up. That's why I asked for it.
Sure. You've referred to people with a capacity.
See, they'll watch like silly, like they'll watch girls, trans people on TikTok, and they'll say like really woke stuff, and sometimes it's like really silly ass shit, and it's like, yeah, no, I get why you're making fun of them. It's like they're kind of, you know, they got some weird vibes, and they're like hippies, you know, hippie vibes, I guess, some modern hippie vibes. But for them to pull up like this political discussion, this is like in a like a town hall, or I don't know what the hell this is. But they're having a discussion on abortion, and this guy wanted to make it about trans people. And I thought this guy was going to be part of the cool guy club. If you know what the cool guy club is, it's like this thing on YMH where it's like people who are pieces of shit or jackasses are ironically super cool guys. This guy should have been the cool guy club, 100%, because he's kind of a piece of shit.
Pregnancy,
but and he's gonna play this off as like a joke. He like trans people. He thinks like trans people being part of this discussion is either ridiculous or contrary to women's rights. I'm explaining way too much.
Many women, cis women, have the capacity for pregnancy. Many cis women do not have the capacity for pregnancy. There are also trans men who are capable of pregnancy, as well as non-binary people who are capable of pregnancy.
So this isn't really a women's rights issue.
We should recognize that this impacts women.
So when I saw this, I'm like, this guy's a fucking jackass. This fucking douchebag. And this woman, she does such a good job, you know.
And while also recognizing that.
And like she might be coming off as smug, and maybe like. But she has every right to be. This guy is ridiculous, and it's a really simple, easy thing to explain. She could be smug. She has every right to be smug, and the language she's using is really like, it's really technical, which I can see. I'm using a lot of preemptive language because I want you guys to be prepared for Tom and Christina's fucking take, because they get so triggered by this woman. They get so mad. It's fucking embarrassing. As somebody who's like a fan of YMH, and I've been watching them for years, I was embarrassed for them.
Impacts other groups. Those things are not mutually exclusive, Senator Hawley.
Oh, so your view is that the core of this right then is about what?
See, look at him. He's like, oh god, it's more trans bullshit. Like, yeah, he's putting on an act. He's doing the thing. He's getting huge brownie points from his side of the aisle. And, you know, all of the like anti-woke conservatives on the internet, they're gonna get boners for Josh Hawley.
So I want to
recognize Ben Shapiro moment.
Questioning is transphobic, and it opens up trans people to violence.
So they're rolling their eyes right now. I'm glad I'm not covering up their camera. They're rolling their eyes even because like, oh, he's like, because she's calling him out, and they think it's like Karen energy, and they think it's annoying, but she is right. You can't be mad at her for being right. And I think they even acknowledge that, like, I don't think they acknowledge. They're just mad because they think she's being pretentious. I don't know if she is, but she is correct.
I feel like that guy, Senator, what's his name?
Senator Hawley.
Well, this makes me, okay, so he's like, wait, we're here to talk about abortion and women. And she's like, no, we're actually here to talk about the fact that you're transphobic.
Yeah.
That is, ooh, see, they fell for it. They fell for Josh Hawley. They fell for Senator Hawley's trick. They fell for the trick on the right. It was a discussion about abortion. He made it about trans people. Trans people can have abortions too. And he wants to make it like this. He wants to like own the lib by saying, "Oh, I thought this was about women." And it's like, well, non-binary and trans men also have the capacity for pregnancy, and every single thing she's saying is technically correct. She is right. You can be mad about it and roll your eyes all you want, but you can't be mad that she's right. And Jesus
it's like
Christ.
She's totally, it's just pointing out that he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
You're a no good.
She maybe she was being pretentious, but like he's being so obviously bad faith. How could you not like smile and like kind of laugh to yourself? Like, really? Like you're okay, dude.
Good meanie. It's so
Right.
dumb.
I mean, he might be a bag of shit. I don't really know.
I don't know either.
Senator Hawley, I don't think he's probably a great guy. Like
He
most
looks like a
senators.
bag of
They, at least they recognize
shit.
that.
He looks
Yeah.
like a typical
But typical. Okay.
Republican douchebag.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
But this is so indicative of why the left.
This is where it gets fucking crazy. I was so like baffled that like they took his side. It gets fucking whacker.
Is bananas now. They are.
She is the left is bananas because they are like, not because I think he's gonna say that. I think his point is that the left are crazy because they want to make it about woke shit, which isn't the case. But
So crazy.
So
that
crazy.
you
Nothing
go-
she's
you're talking about like abortion and reproductive rights, and then someone's like, "You mean people with a capacity for pregnancy?"
they need to be part of the discussion. Their rights are being affected too. And this is where Tom and Christina, Mommy Jeans, Water Champ, all the YMH references, this is where they're showing their ignorance. And they get to some real boomer fucking energy too.
And then attacks you for being transphobic for talking about it. I mean, that's why, she's a fucking lunatic. Like that's,
Over their
that's really
heads.
what this is. And people are scared to say it now.
Lunatic.
Yeah.
People get scared.
Dude, like, I think they're liberals, but they're using a lot of conservative talking points. They're very conservative liberals. But, moving to Texas and making all the money off, like, business, their business, their views are probably changing. Like, it's kind of like Rogan,
Scared to point out how crazy it is to talk like this fucking psycho
I know.
who's, like,
I can't believe
Just-
they think she's the psycho.
you're just
like,
speaking nonsense. You mean
she is 100% correct. Like, she was like, you can be annoyed by the way she's saying it, but they're acting like she's crazy when in actual everything she said was true. I sound like a broken record, but
people with women's organs?
Well,
That's how you should.
yeah, I mean, with like female sex organs, if you want to be technical, because it's not a gendered thing. It's and even like there are people out there who have like intersex people. You can be like, oh, there's like 1%, like less than that. It's like they can still get like pregnant, and they still need to be part of the discussion, or at least involved in the discussion.
Talk about it?
yeah.
Because a trans
Let's
man
go.
or a non-binary person that can get pregnant has women's reproductive
Right, because
organs.
look, I think
Yeah. So, like, I'm not entirely sure what they're fucking mad about. Like, it gets weird.
for me,
This is just crazy.
the whole thing gets convoluted. To me, there should be two things, and maybe this makes sense in my mind. Are there two biological genders? There's male reproductive.
Which isn't even true. But I wouldn't expect her to really know that. Because intersex exists. It's not binary. It's on a spectrum.
Reproductive organs, female reproductive, male, female.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like I think generally, yeah. I mean, I don't know if there's sex organs I'm not aware of. But yeah, generally there are male sex organs and female sex organs, male sexual characteristics, female sexual characteristics, but these things exist on a spectrum. And they don't. I think they have no fucking idea. I don't think they've
That's biological
taken fucking 10 seconds to look it up.
facts. It's called science. Now, with
Which what she's saying actually has fucking nothing to do with the video, really, because like I don't even know what they're mad about.
within that, you can express that gender differently.
Sure,
You can
yeah.
be astral gendered. Yes, absolutely.
Astral.
But to say that there's more than two genders is scientifically fucking inaccurate.
Oh, so those that's totally wrong. She pretends like she knows what she's talking about. And she's like, "Oh, you can express your gender in such a way, but and then she's like, scientifically there are two genders." Maybe she's mixing it up. Maybe she means sex, which also isn't true. But she's not. She's showing not just ignorance, but she's being arrogant too. And guys, it's really disappointing. Like I don't expect these guys to be woke and to you know to be like progressive activists. But at my baseline, I expected them to not be fucking like transphobic. I mean, they're kind of being transphobic, at least somewhat.
So the man that's pregnant, guess what he has?
Yeah.
Maybe not so much transphobic as they are just ignorant. Like, and they're just talking about shit they have no idea what the fuck they're talking about, and it's really just showing their ignorance, and it's not a good look. Which they don't give a fuck. I think more power to them in that regard, but it's just disappointing. It's like just it's really simple, like just bare minimum, you know. Just don't be dicks.
Fucking uterus.
Yeah.
That's a biological female part.
We know.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just
So-
fucking explained everything. God damn it.
I mean, again, I think she's also playing it up, but I think she like I think it actually she's playing it up, I'm sure, but she gets like, this is what annoys you, like this is what you get fired up about. It's fucking weird. It's straight boomer
I get so
energy.
fucking annoyed at these people.
It just makes
Right.
you want to fucking, tell them.
Let me put my tongue in your ass.
Yeah.
If someone relies on, I don't
They're
know what's.
exhausting.
There's nothing illogical about or nothing harmful being like, yeah, there's two biological.
Ex-
Okay,
just
so they do get
Well, it's
into
like
it more.
OM.
She's like, excuse me, but you're forgetting all these other groups when you say it's
Yeah.
hateful. It's like, it's not hateful.
It's
Look,
not.
can we just,
He was just
get
being
on with it?
like, it's just common sense. Can we just?
It's so that's, they're being biased. If they were ever to watch this, they'd probably think I'm like the woman, but I just want them to. I love the content they make. It is hilarious. I love the inside jokes. I feel like, like a fucking part of the community, I guess. And I want them to do better. That's all. That's it. It's really disappointing when they act like this. And they've done it before, but this is pretty this is pretty on the nose.
Just talk about, can we live in reality for a moment?
Yeah, so yeah. So it's bizarre that if they maybe knew a little bit more, they'd realize that like trans people and non-binary people can get abortions too. And Hawley was trying to own the libs, with you know, by trying to make it about trying to exclude trans people from the discussion. Like, if you guys think, like, if you guys, you know, believe, you know, being transgender is a thing and is valid, you would have recognized Hawley was being exclusionary. That might be the right word, like on purpose for the, you know, he wanted just to own the libs. That's all he was doing. It's all about owning the libs.
Do we have to be in the fucking upside down every time we have a
5 minutes.
conversation?
I don't
They're
know
exhausting.
there's nothing.
Dude, we wouldn't even have to talk like that. She wouldn't have to explain it to him if they would join us in reality, you know, and recognize that being trans is like a real thing, and that gender is a social construct, and that trans men and cis women and non-binary people have the capacity for pregnancy. Like, she is right. That is true. I don't know how you can be mad when people are talking, like, I don't know how you can be mad about people talking the truth, except I don't know if they see it that way.
Nothing illogical about, or nothing harmful being like, yeah, there's two biological genders, but people represent that within a spectrum. People express that within a spectrum.
Sure. There's also non-binary people, which I don't know if she was she getting all hissy pissy about non-binary people. I have somebody in my life who got upset by the fact that, like, she thinks like they them is bullshit. I'm like, no, they just don't. They're not a man, they're not a woman, and they them works for them. You know, why do you give a shit?
Yeah, exactly.
It's, you know, people who pretend to be like progressive annoy me. I don't want to be like a gatekeeper or like go with the what's it called? The No True Scotsman. But like, when you're saying like, oh yeah, I support trans people, it's totally valid. They're totally valid. But then you get mad at they them gender, or you intentionally misgender somebody who's close to you. I was having a discussion with somebody. We were having a discussion about a trans person we know, and they kept referring to this trans individual as she, even though, and I asked, I noticed that you keep saying she. Are they, because like they were born biologically female, and they used to be like a girl, but now they're at a stage in their young life where they're not sure. But so to be sure, I asked them, do they want to be like, are they okay with that pronoun, she, her? And they said, I'm almost certain they said, no, they're not. They're not a girl. I'm like, okay, so why are you misgendering them? Or do they prefer they them, or do they prefer he they, or the one that isn't she her? And I think they said, I'm not sure. They just don't want to be she her. And like, you're just intentionally, it's like, why are you misgendering them? You know they don't want to be she her. It's like, and then that's when they got mad when I started talking about they them. It's like, they them is a bunch of bullshit. I'm like, I thought you were like an ally. I mean, I kind of knew that they were sort of just posturing and sort of like, God, I mean, I wanted to try to be fair. At least they will say that trans people are valid, but then they also have a long way to go. If they're still misgendering people and getting mad at the fact that some people want to be they them, like, yeesh. That was a tangent.
Express it.
So the point is that like Tom and Christina will sometimes be or act progressive, and like they'll just say like the bare minimum in terms of what it is to be like progressive, and then they do this shit. It's like, which are you? Maybe they're just really, really bad allies.
use gendered language.
Makes me crazy. These people ruin reason. She had a great moment to talk to this guy about abortion rights.
So, and this is like they.
Right.
Instead, she's wasting it on this fucking horse shit.
You're putting people.
It's so disappointing because they think she wasted it when it's Hawley who wanted to exclude trans people, and she wanted to bring it back to like. Well, she had to. I mean, was she just gonna let him spread misinformation? Was she just gonna let him be just misinform people who are watching and people who are there? Is she just supposed to be like, okay, for the sake of this discussion, I will exclude people who are part of this discussion? It's fucking crazy, and they fell for it.
People at harm.
Shut up.
Creating people at harm for violence.
And just to point out, you're being transphobic.
Okay, well, he was being transphobic. And I guess you can argue about the violence thing, but what he's doing is he's like belittling trans people and their existence, which perpetuates the prejudice and violence that still continues to this day. So I don't know if I would have phrased it like that, but she is technically correct. He is part of the problem, and he is by making a show of belittling trans people, he is continuing the spread, the potential spread of violence towards trans people, who are, people commit violence against them all the fucking time, and it's a real problem. So, yeah, fuck that guy. Fuck Hawley.
Yeah, shut up.
Shut up.
Retard.
So,
Well, and to be clear, like Tom and I are not. Every time I feel like I talk about this, people are like, "Oh, Christina is right-wing conservative." I'm not, dude.
I know.
I used to be liberal, and then these nutbags took over.
Oh my god. So they're essentially, she is doing the like, oh, I was on the left, but the left has moved so far left that now I'm like in the center. And it's like, yeah, sorry that like we're progressing and you can't keep up. Sorry, Christina. Stop holding us back. Join us, girl. Come on, I'll educate you. Bring me on the show. YMH, baby, let's go.
Over.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the fuck I am anymore, but I know.
Oh, I should make a TikTok. She might she might find me if I make a TikTok. Oh, lordy, lord. That would be amazing.
No, I'm not on this
because
team of
here's
nonsense.
the truth. The truth is, these are the new crazies. The crazies were right wingers.
I know.
This
Right? Ultra
here is fucking crazy, dude.
right wingers. You're like, you are
The
a
religious
fucking lunatic.
nuts, yeah.
And then everything got flipped. So now, like the hardcore left, they are the new fucking psychos.
Yeah.
Where you can't have a conversation with them.
Jesus, dude. Oh my god. I should let him finish. I think it gets worse. Because, like, the left are the new crazies just because they want to be particular with their language and they want you to understand and be educated. And then again, sure, lots of people on the left are annoying and, like, righteous, but you can't call them the crazy ones. Like, when the right, and even the fairly moderate right, is trying to overthrow democracy and try to, like, they got the school shootings, Nazis, white supremacists, they tried to overthrow the Capitol, they tried to overthrow democracy, and they're getting, like, in just these last few years alone, they're escalating to new heights of insanity, and he wants to call the left crazy because they use language and try to evolve concepts that he's just not comfortable with. He comes off like a fucking boomer.
So you can't have a conversation with a Tea Party person.
No.
And now you can't have a conversation with this fucking dipshit because
You absolutely can. She wasn't being crazy. She wasn't being like you can't do this, you can't say that. She was just calmly explaining to him how he's wrong. That's like, you can do that in a conversation. It's the other guy who doesn't want to have the conversation. It's the other guy who doesn't want to budge. Like, I feel like they are missing so much context from this. But I don't think that would change their feelings. They just want to.
So she's gonna just spin it into like you'd be like,
She's gonna
yeah,
spin it.
abortion. She'd be like, let me point out something. You're being really transphobic right now, and you're like, okay,
Okay, we were just talking about abortion rights.
okay.
Yeah, it's Senator Hawley, who, I mean, he's Republican. To be fair, I don't know his position. Senator. I mean, if he's Senator Hawley, abortion, I guess. Accused of transphobic questioning at abortion. Pro-life or pro-choice? I'm gonna be super extra fair and not assume. For Hawley's abortion access is a family affair. I'm gonna be super extra fair and try to get like where his position is, because maybe he's more of a fence sitter. I don't know. Hawley said he is not in favor of a federal ban on abortions if it is overturned, and that the matter should be left to individual states. See, okay, so he's not pro-choice, because if you do that, states will take that choice away from you. He might not take the pro-life position, but he's certainly not pro-choice, and he's not pro-freedom. So, because when you leave it up to the states' rights, what you're really saying is like, yeah, we want to ban, like, I don't care if they ban abortion. I don't care if they take that right from you. It's some fucking real fucking cucked. It's cucked. It's such a cucked position. Because it's the states' rights. There shouldn't be like, states shouldn't decide on like civil rights, because some states don't care about your civil rights. So they need to be federally protected. So I think that's all I really need to know. And the fact that he's using a transphobic line of questioning. I think I've gathered everything I need.
Now you just made it about something else stupid.
Yeah, I'm gonna go get something to drink.
Yeah, it's not her fault that he wanted to like just take the time to try to like to make it not like he just wanted to obfuscate. Like, that's all you're doing. Sorry, she had to correct you. He put her in a position where she had to correct him. I know that feeling. It's frustrating.
Nice to meet you.
But I also think I feel in my heart that life is shades of gray. It's never black and white. It's not like being on one team or the other.
I know.
Well, it can. I agree. It's not like, in general, it's not always black and white, but sometimes it is. Like, that's like saying that like there's like like when they were doing it was like a protest or riots, and there were like white supremacists on one side and like black people on the other, and it's like, oh, there's good and bad people on both sides. Or to simplify it, it's like Nazis. Nazis bad. I don't think there's much of a gray area there. The tiniest little bit of gray area, maybe. Because some because the German people were victims and a product of like fascist propaganda, and that's very unfortunate for them. But then they got the fascist brain rot that led to everything else.
It's always somewhere center.
It is, but then it is
somewhere right of the center.
You can still say that all that is
somewhere
true,
right
that this
of the
is
center.
Nonsense. This person is spewing nonsense.
It's like these people.
That's the thing, man. I don't know how many times I'm gonna say it. Maybe every time he brings it up, because he's repeating himself now. Because what she is saying is nonsense. Nothing she said is nonsense, because it's all true. She is technically correct on everything. You can't be mad because it's true. It's demonstrably true. So it's not nonsense. Maybe her, maybe the way she's going about it. I don't know. trying to defend him in some way. Like, you could have taken this a million ways. First of all, Hawley should have been like in the cool guy club. First of all, because he's a giant douche. And yeah, he is transphobic. He was being transphobic, and he doesn't want you to have. He doesn't want you to have the freedom to choose. Because his state will probably ban abortion. I think his state was like Missouri. And I think they have some fucked bills on that stuff already. So I don't know. We'll see.
People want a cause. They want a bandwagon on something, and now it's pointing out who's a big bad meanie.
This
who's a big
reminds
transphobe.
me of going to that gun range and posting it, and people were like, didn't know what kind of person you were. Like,
okay, I mean, he's right about this. Like, you should be able to go to a gun range and not be accused of being like a Nazi, or like super far right.
unfollowing, and I was like, what? And
But again, those are people. Those are dipshits on the internet. There are a lot of dipshits on the internet. It's kind of like the don't read the comments rule. It's because it's usually like a loud minority that's going to be like, oh, I can't believe you have guns. Oh, I guess I see what kind of person you are now. Because guns are your right, and you can be enthusiastic about like guns and stuff, and still be have common sense gun laws. And maybe, I don't know if that's his position, but
you were like a gun nut. I go, I'm at a gun range,
just shooting
We're
guns.
just shooting guns with like at a safe, like this is just an
it's
activity.
unfortunate that he gets
Yeah.
shit
Like,
for
I
that,
didn't- I
because
mean,
that's a
there's
really
gun violence
silly
in America.
thing.
I'm like, what?
What? I mean, but that's like a dipshit on the internet. This was a woman who was, clearly knew what the fuck she was talking about, and who was probably annoyed and flabbergasted that she has to deal with this ridiculous fucking person. Just like you have to deal with ridiculous people online. Josh Hawley is the people in your comment section. It's like, you believe in trans people? I thought it was about women's rights. He's that. And then you're here, correcting them, just like she has to correct him.
What are you talking about? But that's what this is now.
See, it's funny because he's got it ass backwards. She is Tom Segura in this scenario. She's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, now I have to explain how you're wrong, so other people don't get the wrong idea, and we can take this back like on track and come back to reality. I don't know.
People, you go, I'm at a gun range, and they're like, oh, you don't care about children in schools? Huh? What are you talking about? Like,
Exactly.
Oh man, see, I didn't pick up on this the first time I watched this. He's got it backwards. Josh Hawley is the comment section, and that woman, I'm so fucking sorry I don't know your name, is Tom Segura in this situation. In this, not him being trans before or transphobic before, but him being like, what's happening right now? Like that was how she probably felt.
It's so illogical. It's like that analogy I've seen on like the memes where somebody's like, I like apples. And then they go, yeah, but you don't mention oranges. How do you feel about oranges? Don't you care? And you're like,
they have it backwards, man.
God.
They have it backwards. Josh Hawley is the guy who's being like, what about oranges? He's like, I thought this was about women.
Nice.
I guess you can't do it.
I thought this was a women's rights issue.
Why can't somebody just be a blend of many different?
It really speaks
thoughts?
to just the fact that there's extremism.
Yeah.
And you can be extreme
Oh God. Okay,
on either side. Whether you're far right.
dude, far right. So the far left, you might get some property damage. Riots, property damage. Maybe some people get hurt. Maybe less extreme. You get like, I guess, really annoying, self-righteous people. Far right, you have mass shootings, white supremacy, the end of democracy, fascism. You can't. This is another really bad take from Tom Segura. He's equivocating like the far left with the far right, which is just like fascism. like overthrowing democracy, wanting to end the existence of homosexuals and trans people, like white supremacy. Like, you're gonna compare these fucking things. You're gonna compare this woman being like maybe pedantic or whatever, self-righteous, and that's not even the case, really. She's just correcting him. You're gonna compare this woman. Let's see what his example of far right is.
Or far left.
Yeah.
In either case, you are
Fully retarded.
Right. Yeah, it's bizarre that she's gonna compare her to. I don't know. Maybe he's not comparing her. I'm trying to be fair to Tom. Maybe he's not comparing her and the way she's, correcting Josh Hawley to far right fashion. This is a tough video for me, guys. Yikes.
so that's the
Yes,
truth.
and also too, I would like to say is that I can listen to what she's saying and go, yeah, okay, I'm going to consider that. Like, it's not completely untrue. What she's saying, blah blah blah, yes, and then somebody on the
Yeah.
far right can say something every now and then. You're like, okay, I guess. Like, you can.
She's not even like far left. She's probably liberal. Let's be real. She's probably liberal. She's probably not super far left, but super. So you're gonna say like, what's super far right to her, man? Like, because what I think is super far right, I think like, Trump won the fucking election, and we need to kill Mike Pence. Like, that's the far right, man. Far left is like, let's overthrow capitalism or something, because that's one of their big things is, they're anti-capitalist, and maybe they fuck up some buildings.
Can consider different fucking opinions too.
Sure.
Just consider it.
Yeah.
But in this context, bitch, this is not the time to correct him on his transphobia.
I think it's with all these people watching in a discussion about abortion where trans people are included, it is a very good time to correct him. And I think she did a really good job too. Like, I hear like I've heard people try to like defend, because like conservatives will always go to this point. They'll always try to point out like the hypocrisy in like just trans existence, and trans issues compared to like women or something. And she said it in a way that she's not wrong about anything she's saying. Yeah, I've heard other people phrase it poorly, like they're still right, but she did a really good job. And she is correct on every point on a technical level.
It's just live on Earth, like
fucking A.
live in reality. Don't live.
Yeah, pretending trans people aren't a part of the discussion, or like they're not like a part of the discussion, but they need to be included. This affects them too, and not realizing that is not accepting reality. So they're actually in the unreality position at the moment.
Live in this make-believe land.
Yeah.
Don't be the kind of person that you can't talk about like anything without crying
Offended.
like this fucking guy.
She needs a fucking
Everyone I
safe
talk
space.
to who
Yeah. Okay. So and then they finally moved on. Yeah, and I've read the comments, and I'm surprised by how many people are like disappointed with. It's usually everybody in the comments is like, "Oh my God, Andrew Schultz! Finally, they have Andrew Schultz on." And then a lot of the comments are like, "Tom and Christina are fucking weird. Like they have some weird fucking takes on this, and they like are totally in the wrong." And then there's like another like kind of minority of people who are like, "Oh, fucking based Tom and Christina being transphobic." Oh yeah, I made a couple comments too. I'm not gonna go over them. I want to see other people. Sam and Christina need to be Garth and Trisha for Halloween. The thing with Garth. Okay, now I guess the discussion is swayed to Garth. Yeah, it's a lot of Garth. Yeah. When this first came out, a lot of the discussion was like, why are Tom and Christina I'm being so fucking weird. Yeah, okay. So I guess like unless they're deleting them, which I feel like they wouldn't do that. It probably, it's just been drowned out now. Man, damn it, this sucks. I love mommies, and they keep just hitting the clip, hitting that clip from the wrong direction. The woman they are so annoyed with is a lawyer, a law professor, and her exchange with Hawley, complete douchebag by the way, was in the context of how overturning Roe and handling abortion back to the states leads to completely R bans and R exemptions that end with people dying in waiting rooms at hospitals. Right, okay, so that's a lot. He's right. They came at it from a complete, like, the wrong direction. Yeah. It's like I guess they could have gotten the full context and realized he was the douchebag, but they already said their fucking 2 cents, man, and they clearly think like some of the trans issues and they are bullshit. They made that kind of clear. Or they just mad that this woman knows what the fuck she's talking about. It's fucking bizarre, man. So that was pretty much it. I don't know. I felt really uncomfortable during that segment, and I think they get into it even more later, and it's fucking weird. It's like some real fucking Rogan energy. I think Rogan might even know more than them because he talks about this stuff more and still chooses to be fucking jackass about it. But I don't know, you guys. If you're YMH fans, and if you're subscribed to this channel, see, I've tried to emulate Tom and Christina's their show's energy for this whole time. Like, it's been a huge influence on me and like this channel. But like I have a more, I guess, quote unquote, like woke spin to it because I want our fucking channel to be a place that LGBTQ plus people, queer people, can feel comfortable in. I don't want to alienate marginalized people. My co-host has a harder time with it. And I try to call him out on it, but he's, how do I put it? He's very well intentioned, and he really cares about the issues, but he is not going to filter himself. So if he says like a slur, or offends you, just know that I give him a hard time about it, and we both still care and try our best to advocate for the shit we care about. Try to be an ally of sorts. If you like this video, please leave a comment, like, subscribe, share, all that jazz. I'm still getting used to making this type of content, sort of like political type stuff. So give me some constructive criticism. Tell me what I could have done better or what you would like to see in the future. And I really super duper appreciate it. Peace.